Hey, what's going on, you guys? Thank you for hanging out again. I really appreciate it. Over the last few days, I've been trying to do a video a day. I've been doing pretty good. I'm going to continue that. If you want to skip forward to the Outback walk around, just skip forward about 5 minutes. This video was shot a few weeks ago before all the craziness, and it's an awesome build. Liana, thank you for sharing your build. Some of you may remember a little over a year ago, I went to Stellar Built in Sacramento, and they do a lot of fabrication in the overland community. So I'll have their information in the description, and you can check them out. I'm going to continue to do videos on a daily basis for a little while. So what do we have for you next? All right, here's the scenario. When you go off grid, you need to bring plenty of water. And so you'll bring it in a 5-gallon container or many 5-gallon containers. And that can be kind of cumbersome. It's something I've struggled with for years. You know, you got a 5-gallon container to fill up a cup or to fill up a canteen or whatever. It's cumbersome. So what is the solution? Here you go. Right? I mean, is this cool or what? So tomorrow I'm going to shoot a video on how you make this. Dan Rich, I got to give you a shout out for your configuration here and showing me all of the parts. But we'll go through the faucet, the filter, the pump, and how you can configure this for your own 5-gallon can based on a 12 volt system. Makes it a lot easier to get water out. So we'll go over that tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you guys are being safe, staying safe in place, and if you can't be on an adventure, we can plan our next adventure. That's what I'm doing, and I'll see you guys on the trail soon enough, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey you guys, I'm here with Liana, and we are hanging out at the Adventure Expo in Costa Mesa, California. Yeah. Thanks for joining us here.
No worries.
Really
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the second day of the Adventure Expo. Yesterday, did you talk to a lot of folks about your Subaru build and
I did.
You know, what it's all about?
It seems like a lot of folks had come by and they'd see, Land Rover, Jeep, and Land Cruiser, and they get, oh, that's interesting. So where have you been? How often do you go out? So it's been a lot of fun. So I think a lot of people were surprised, and then others who were also Subi owners, kind of running around like, oh, that's cool.
Very enthusiastic. Yeah. Now, we first saw the rig at Stellar Built up in, it's near Davis. Is it in Davis, or where's Stellar Built again? So it's in Sacramento. Stellar Built is in Sacramento. The owner, Dimitri, we stopped by his shop, and we saw your build there. Yeah. Now we'll talk about that in just a second. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, just the basics, like where you live and that sort of thing, and then I'll ask you, what the Subaru behind us is.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Southern California based, born and raised. I've lived a couple other places. Always come back here. Always been interested in off-roading as a kid. Had went with some relatives. Always knew I wanted something. I don't know actually what drew me to the Subaru, but since I've been riding it, I'm super glad that I did. It's super capable.
Right.
I had no idea.
Tell us your make and model of your Subaru platform.
Sure. This one's a 5th gen, so it's a 2015 2.5i Limited. My decision on that was really based on I'm too cheap to pay for premium gas, so I didn't want a 3.6, and it's been perfect. I didn't find that having the extra power may have helped, but everywhere I've gone, the 2.5 has been way more, and it rides so smoothly. It still rides like a car, even though it's got all the stuff on it. Yep.
So one of the things, you bring up a good point, one of the things that we say with Overland Bound is it doesn't matter what you drive. If you look at our space here at the expo, we've got Toyota, Land Rover, Subaru, Toyota.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, keep it down back there. We're trying to shoot a video. Toyota, a Subaru, another Toyota, Jeep, Land Rover, quite a few different types of vehicles. You said for where you drive, so you have to match your trips with your capabilities. Right. Tell us a little bit about that before we actually start doing a walk around. What types of trails do you go on? What have you done with the vehicle?
Sure, because we're in Southern California, there's a lot of desert immediately available, so like Anza Borrego and even going to Atlanta, going up like the 395 towards Alabama Hills.
Yeah.
There have been instances where another Overland Bound member, Frank, who does a lot of meetups Southern California, my first trip with him was a trip I wasn't sure. I messaged him. I saw it on the forum, and I said, I'm interested in going. Here's what I drive. He goes, oh, you'll be fine. At the time, I was on stock tires and everything. I didn't have any kind of bumper cuts. And for my car at that point, the trail that we did was a little bit challenging, but it wasn't anything that I couldn't do again in a stock vehicle, or any vehicle couldn't do in a stock. But it was interesting to know, and I think at that point as well, like even Frank and some of the other folks who went on might have also been like, oh, that's interesting, it's super capable. So some of it is getting intel from other folks and what they getting trail information. Yep. And instead of saying, oh, I don't know if your car can make it, and getting an idea of like what kind of obstacles are on the trail, what kind of inclines are there, that kind of thing. Yeah. Really finding that information out has been super helpful.
Well, hey, let's dive right in. Let's start with the front and tell us how you crafted the front of your vehicle and why. What kind of bumper and what did you do with it and what were you trying to achieve here?
Awesome. So for the bumper, I had seen, you mentioned stellar build. Dimitri had done some things on some cross tracks previously. So this is a variation of that bumper. So I reached out to him after I saw a couple of those bumpers. I wanted to put a winch in it, which I think he hadn't done any of them yet. And then I just wanted specifically a certain like light setup here. Basically, I knew what I wanted. I trust you. I've seen what you do with all your vehicles. And so I kind of went that route, and I think he just knocked out of the park.
What lights did you go with on the front?
I went with the Baja Design Squadrons, but I really like them, and I wanted something that I could use cross-functionally, so I just went with the white lights and bought the amber covers, and that's been good, so I can kind of switch them out.
Great, great. And what winch did you go with?
This is the Super Winch, and it's I think it's one of their smaller like ATV rated ones. It's 4500. Yeah. Or the 45S. And so I went with that based on just the vehicle weight. I didn't need anything heavier. I didn't want to carry anything heavier.
I know a lot of Subaru owners go with the smaller winch. It doesn't, you don't need a 20,000 pound winch on your vehicle. Tell me about your wheels.
Oh, sure.
People are going to ask, hey, what did you go with on the wheels?
I went with this car came with 18-inch wheels, and in doing my research realized there weren't as many wheel choices, and also that I wanted more sidewall. So the smallest I could go was 17 and fit the brakes and everything. Got it. So I went with 17-inch, and I looked around for a while, and I'd gone through a couple of different wheel iterations, but my most recent was Fuel Off-Road just came out with these actually. They make a truck version that's on, I'll bring up Frank again, on his car he has a red pair, and this is the car version of his. Now, on his, I saw them, I was like, man, those look amazing. Can I get those in red? Fuel was like, we don't make them in red. Everybody was recommending the BFGoodrich KO2s. And so since I've had them, I mean, I think I'm probably always going to wrap them in KO2s.
KO2s, they're bulletproof tires. I have the KM3s, but for most people, I recommend the KO2s. And even in conversations with BFGoodrich, they reaffirm the KO2 is a bulletproof tire. We run it in races at very high speeds. It's a really good all-around tire, better performance than the wet and the snow if you're in the wet and the snow. And tell us about the lift. How'd you do that?
So I went with an Anderson design fabrication lift. They're based in Oregon. Went with that again when I jumped into off-roading. I kind of immediately found a Subaru community, and so a lot of them were talking about different lifts. And now there are more options. At the time, there were only a few, and a lot of them had run this one. And if I'd looked at their Instagram, for example, it's like they were doing some pretty good stuff. So I said, oh, I think I can be confident in that. And a big thing for me is that I had a question, so I called Anderson, and the owner answered the phone. And I love that. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy your lift. And then I went with some Rallytech springs. So I have a 1-inch lift spring in the front on top of that, and then a 0.75-inch overload spring in the back, and they're Rallytech.
Got it.
So
okay.
The problem I'm most worried about is probably right now the axles. Again, I haven't done anything to them, but I kind of wonder. But I've been on this setup now probably for almost a year. Yeah. But I also drive pretty conservatively. I'm not a rallier. I'm not trying to race and stuff. So
got it.
That might also play a factor. So.
Well, I actually share the concern, because that's the one thing that seems to fail is axles and CVs when you're out there on the trail and you hit it and you're going over bumps. Yeah. They pop, pop. I've even seen two go at one time, pop, pop. Man. Not fun, not fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the roof rack and how you set that up. What did you go with up on the roof rack?
I had looked at a couple of different options.
Yep.
What I wanted to do was, unfortunately, Subaru decided to go with this plastic railing. I looked into removing those, which requires a lot of different work, and so that I'm not comfortable doing. So when I looked around, in order to be able to replace the roof rack with something else that I wanted a little bit more low profile, in addition to the hardware and the install, it was going to be close to $2,000. It just wasn't worth it to me.
Got it.
So I looked into some other things, and Front Runner at the time had just come out with this one for the Subaru. And I love it because it goes directly into the existing points for the stock crossbars, like bomb-proof, like I climb on that thing. And,
great, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is bomb-proof. If you can climb up there, that's perfect, that's great.
I mean, I don't weigh much, but still. I know some people have put like rooftop tents and sleep on it fine. I haven't done that. I've just chosen to, like, for my accessories, I sleep in the car, so I do like having the ability to put stuff on the top.
You have water up there. Is that a road shower or is that just
that
water
one's a water port, and it's about 4 gallons, and it does great. You can pressurize it 3 different ways, and it comes with one of those like shower hoses or nozzles. And
then you've got your traction boards. What awning did you go with there?
That one's a company called AWD 4WD, but I like it. It's a Batwing, so it's 270.
Tell me about the rear swing out bumper. Did Stellar build that as well?
Yes, they did the same thing. I'd seen a couple of variations. There was the single and the double that he had done on something else. He hadn't done one on Subaru yet, so this is the first, I think, rear bumper he did on Subaru. And so I just said, all I knew was that what I wanted to carry, and I mentioned to him a couple of the ones that I had seen. And one of the things that, so I kind of let him go on that as well. The only thing that I asked for that was something he hadn't done, which when we look at it, on the right side where the spare tire is, or on both sides, he put like a little molly. And so I was able to put a bag there, so I have some of my recovery stuff in that bag, so it's super accessible. It doesn't live there all the time if I'm on a trip. Before I start, if I remember, I put it out there, so in case I need something, it's easy. I don't have to open anything. I just pull the swing out tire.
It's a great setup. It looks like you've got your kitchen and surface area to work just right there.
It's nice.
Quick to set up. You're not pulling a bunch of stuff out of boxes and then setting it up someplace else. So it looks like a really clean setup. How much gas do you carry?
I carry, it's that I can get about 6 gallons that I carry with me, and not a lot. One of my considerations.
So that's 600 miles for you, right?
Right, it is, yeah. I can go, I can clear on that. One of the considerations for everything on the vehicle is I have to be able to do it myself, because somebody had recommended, oh, you can put spare tire on the roof. I said, can you imagine me trying to get that thing on the roof when I have to change it out, put the old one? And so I travel typically in groups, sometimes by myself, but ultimately, like, I'm the only one in the vehicle.
Right.
And so I was very clear that, like, I got to be able to do everything myself. So that's why I went with the smaller, I think those are 3.5 or 3 gallon fuel, Rotopax fuel canisters. Right. Because I can lift those off myself. I can fill them.
Right. Anything on the interior that we should know about how you set up your interior, your navigation, or your communications?
I do. So I'm a licensed ham, and so I do run a radio. Sometimes I'm running just a mobile unit plus my handheld, and sometimes I'll plug both in. So I actually put 2 antennas on the car. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a public service nerd as well, and so I do things like the Baker to Vegas race. I do Baker to Vegas radio support, and so it's nice to be able to monitor on one and another. So I have that set up in there, and along with that, I have an iPad Mini, and then I do the Garmin InReach. So those things all seem to help, and for anybody who's like super nerd into ham stuff, I will often run APRS. And so if we're in a location that it works, then it's nice because, my family can just go to this website, you can see where I am.
Right, exactly. So, and you mentioned the InReach, and right now for true off-grid communication, two-way communication, that's one of the best solutions out there.
The only other thing is, this isn't a major mod or anything, but I always make sure that I carry a pretty hefty medical first aid kit.
You gotta keep the blood inside, you got to keep it going around, and you got to keep the air going in and out. And,
there you go.
And surprisingly, a lot of first aid kits aren't well equipped to do that, especially with enough gauze and things of that nature. So a good med kit is important. Yeah. Great. What about your storage in the rear compartment?
Oh, okay. Yes. I haven't done a lot of modification to that, but I just have bought things that fit. So right now I'm running a cooler that's probably a little bit too big, so I'll probably get something a little bit smaller. I use the same company that made my rack front runner. I use their boxes. I like the way that they stack, and they're perfect for my size. So I carry two. One's got a lot of my recovery stuff and extra one of those jump starter batteries.
Great.
And then the other one carries my kitchen things.
Yep.
And then I'll also put like my bag for clothing and stuff back there, but it's pretty simple. The other thing that I carry, I don't always use it. It depends upon how long I'm going to be someplace. But I also carry my T3 Gazelle tent.
Oh,
and
great.
so it fits great in the back.
It does.
Like it fits right along the back of the seat. So,
Okay, that's awesome. One of the advantages of the T3 is that it does fit, well, let's see, perpendicular to the vehicle. It does fit across.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great.
And it sets up really, I've had a couple questions if I've ever posted. Is it really like 90 seconds to set up? I said, let me give you some specs. I'm 4'11", I weigh about 105 pounds, and I literally can pull it out and set it up inside that 90 seconds. Like no joke, it's so easy. And that was one of the factors. The space of it for me is great. It's like a mansion. But it will fit, like it's a great size tent for anybody.
Great. What else should we know about your vehicle? Anything else that we should talk about?
I mean, I love it. I think one of the things I would like people to know is I've gotten a couple questions from folks who are just like, why would you do that? Very little, like, why would you do that to Subaru? Do you know how capable this vehicle is?
Yeah.
As long as the driver knows the capabilities of the vehicle and themselves as a driver, these things, I feel like I feel like I've already seen a lot more out. And I go out with all different kinds of groups, not just Subaru groups, and so I'm seeing others with more capable, doing way more capable things as well. And I think like the industry is also seeing that. So there's a company now that makes a locker for this. And so I haven't done it yet. I'm not sure I'll do it, but I know somebody that runs it on a Subaru Forester. I was like, that gives you a little bit more options, sliders, and more people are doing bumpers now. And
in terms of it kind of goes in alignment with a lot of the off-road adventure travel, overlanding community. We're always trying to be efficient with our space and maximize the use out of what it is that we have. This sort of, in terms of a very efficient and small form factor, it kind of goes along with that as well as being capable. So really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for
awesome.
sharing
Thank you.
your rig.
That was
really,
awesome.
really
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great build.